everyone, welcome back to Crochet and Crime, where I crochet and I tell true crime stories. Today we'll be talking about Chris Watts. And if you don't know about him, he's actually one of the most, recently big news, not recently, happened a couple of years ago, but still, I don't know what that was, it's apparently. Anyways, so this story is absolutely wild to talk about, so prepare yourself. I would like to put out a quick disclaimer. This does talk about, child endangerment and other stuff like that. If you are not into any of that stuff, I suggest you click away from this video. And yeah, with that, let's get into it. Chris and Shanann Watts got married in 2012 after 2 years of dating. And they had their first baby, Bella, in December of 2013. In 2015, Chris started working as a field coordinator, and that same year they had their second baby, Celeste. Shanann decided to quit her job to be a stay-at-home mom, and then she decided to work for a multi-level marketing company. And with this job, she would live stream and show off the different products that she was selling. And she ended up building a relationship with her clients, and she was showing off these products, and she would mention her family, and Chris would actually join the live streams as well. Friends and family said that Chris and Shanann had a very good family. They took very good care of each other, they helped each other out. They were, in a lot of people's eyes, the ideal family. In May of 2018, Shanann found out she was pregnant, and she decided to live stream it and show Chris the positive pregnancy test. He had a very odd reaction to the test. I mean, it was more than likely anxiety from the camera, but I don't know. He just had a really strange reaction to the test. Part of Shanann's job was that they gave her a lot of company vacations, and so their whole family traveled a lot. They went to many different places, and on July 27th of 2018, Shanann and the two girls went on a 6-week vacation to Shanann's family back at her home state. So around here is when Shanann and Chris started having a bit of a rough patch in their relationship. Neighbors were reporting screaming, yelling, and fighting coming from their house, and then Shanann left with the kids the next day. Then Chris was like, fine, whatevs, and Nicole Kessinger and him began their affair. Nicole Kessinger and Chris worked together, and it is not said what time their affair actually began, like if it had just started when Shanann and Chris began fighting or after that. While Shanann was away, Chris never called or texted her. He rarely did, if at all. So Shanann was already getting suspicious of Chris. She's pregnant and her husband is home by himself, not answering her calls or texts. Something's up, obviously. So on July 8th, Chris finally texted Shanann back, and he said he was tired and the heat was getting to him. And Shanann was obviously worried because this is the first time she had contact with him, but he reassured her that he was okay and he was just stressed and overworked. Shanann continued to try and call Chris, but the little stinker was out with his mistress at different car museums and other attractions, just like the ones that they had for each other, apparently. Shanann was telling her friends she felt like Chris didn't love her anymore and he didn't care for her as much as he used to, and she was worried for the kids if Chris didn't love them either. On July 14th, Chris called Shanann and said he didn't want to be with her anymore, and he did not want the baby. Shanann begged and asked for marriage counseling, which Chris denied, and he just wanted to get out. And 4 days later, Chris and Nicole shared some nudie nude photos, strutting their stuff, and Chris, the little pervert, had this calculator app that you type in a code and it's a photo album, and so he would put all of her nudie nude photos in this little album. So Chris and Nicole keep hanging out. They're going on vacations. Chris is searching up when to say I love you in relationships. Shit's getting serious right now. Okay? Them two? More than likely gonna happen. So July 31st comes around and Chris flies out to North Carolina and visits Shanann and the kids. And, he's having the time of his life, and he's still adding photos into his secret calculator album. Then he flies back. He is still having issues with Shanann, who is trying to make everything work. Because she doesn't want to be a single mom. She can't afford to be a single mom. Like, she just wants her husband back. She wants her family to be a family again. Meanwhile, Nicole is searching for wedding dresses and searching for how a man can marry his mistress. So Shanann and her coworker Nicole, this is a good Nicole, she's a helpful Nicole. Anywho, they fly out to a work conference and Chris sends Shanann a strange photo which looks like a child under a blanket, like covered fully in a blanket. And obviously Shanann is like, what the actual fuck? Like, haha, this is supposed to be funny, sugar boosh, honey bear, what? On August 10th, Chris asks a neighbor to watch the girls while he went out to watch a baseball game. He actually went to go see the bad Nicole. And on August 13th, the good Nicole and Shanann came home at 1:48 in the morning, and at 5:30ish is when their security camera caught Chris loading things into his truck. And then at 8 o'clock in the morning, Chris calls the school where the girls are, or they were attending, and said that they would no longer be attending that school anymore, permanently. The good Nicole texts Shanann because Shanann had a doctor's appointment that day, and she wanted to see how it went. But Shanann never answered, and Nicole goes with her son, and Chris is like, she's at a play date with the girls somewhere. So Nicole was obviously like, okay, weirdo. And she walks off and she catches a glimpse of their garage and she sees Shanann's car. They only had one family car. And so she's like, okay, he's lying. The fuck. Nicole calls the police and they get inside the house, which was messy, and Shanann had always had a bit of OCD. So she was always organized, so Nicole knew something was up, and everything in the house was still there except for the bed sheets from the room. Local news got wind of this, and Chris was a shit actor, and if you watch these interviews and stuff like that, you can see he's very, he looks guilty. Like, a penguin can solve this. Like, in the interviews, he's always, laughing, he always has, a smile on his face. Whenever they were, interviewing him, being like, oh, yeah, your wife and your kids are missing. He's like, yeah, it's very sad. Like, dude, at least pretend to be sad. Anyways, they push and push to try and get a confession from Chris, and the bad Nicole is flipping out. She's like, she didn't know that Shanann and the kids were missing, and she's like, well, my man's a murderer. And she tries deleting all of their text messages, their photos, everything. And she goes to the police to tell her side of the story, and she confesses to their affair. Chris is still buckled down. He's feeling good about himself. He's like, yeah, I'm innocent. But he failed the polygraph test horribly. And the police were tracing his phone, they were looking at the GPS on his truck, they did a drone search or something, drone search, one of those two. And guess what they found? The bed sheets. When Chris was questioned about this, he still didn't budge, and he requested to speak with his dad, and he told his dad he did kill them, but he did it because Shanann was hurting the children. The investigators came in and questioned him again, and he said him and Shanann were talking about separation, and Shanann was freaking out, and Chris witnessed her strangling the kids, and he strangled Shanann, and he confessed to burying them he dug Shanann in a shallow grave, and he dumped the 2 girls in the oil tanks at his workplace. The coroner's office determined that the girls were smothered and not strangled, and Chris freaked out and said that Shanann strangled the kids first and then smothered them. Chris Watts pleaded guilty on November 6 for multiple counts of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to 5 life sentences. I'm gonna finish this up and I'll be right back. Alright, here is the finished product. It is a little eyeball pillow. Super cute. It's a little pointy in the back, which I don't like, so I gotta kind of squish it down. But then again, it had like a little butt. Anyways, so yeah, I'm very proud of this. I had a lot of leftover like white yarn, so that's kind of where this came from. And also, it's about to be spooky season, and I'm preparing, because last year I wasn't prepared. Anyways, so yeah, this story was absolutely crazy. It was heartbreaking, all of the above. It was wild. Well, as well as the other videos and cases that I've talked about, but yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video so much. Oh, also, the concert, the top that I made, this side, I had like little side stripes, those broke, which sucks, but it actually held up really well and it looked amazing, and I had an amazing time at the concert. It was super fun. I'll probably put like little pictures here, but yeah, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day or night, and yeah, bye!